I'm so sick of this girl at work named Jasmine. She wants to lie about everything. You want to know the definition of a pathological liar? Well, I'll tell you a story all about one.
Hey everyone, I'm a 26-year-old dude working in this mid-sized marketing firm in the city. Been there for about 3 years. The work environment's chill for the most part, but there's this coworker, Jasmine. I swear if drama was a person, it'd be her. Now before y'all think I'm just being a hater, let me break it down for you. Jasmine started working in our office about 8 months ago. She's a couple of years older than me, attractive, and honestly super charismatic. But from day one, I got this weird vibe from her. Like, you're not the feeling when someone's smiling at you, but their eyes are plotting your death. Yeah, that's the vibe I got. My buddies told me I was overthinking it, that she was just, quote, intense. First few weeks were uneventful. But then the stories began. Crazy, wild stories. She told everyone that she used to be a model in Europe, that she had dated a few famous actors who conveniently none of us would know. She even hinted that she was part of some secret society. Every Monday there was a new tale, and it was like having a live-in soap opera at work. Okay, so everybody has a past, right? I get it. Sometimes we might embellish our stories a bit to impress people, but the stories started to take a turn. First, it was subtle stuff, like how she was responsible for some of the biggest ad campaigns in recent years, even though we knew for a fact she wasn't. But then she started spinning tales about coworkers, and one day she pulled me aside and whispered that Tom, another coworker, had confided in her that he had a huge crush on me. Now don't get me wrong, Tom's a great guy and all, but he's happily married, with kids. I knew she was full of it, but I didn't want to create a scene, so I brushed it off, thinking maybe she's just misinterpreting things. But things kept happening. She told Lisa that our boss was considering firing her. Lisa, being the anxious sweetheart that she is, had a mental breakdown. Took me and a few others to console her and clarify things, but it turns out our boss had no such intentions. Jasmine made it all up. I've tried to keep my distance, and it's not easy when she's always in my face, with some new secrets and gossip, and it's not just me she's messing with. Almost everybody in the office has a Jasmine story. A week ago, at a work get-together, after a couple of drinks, she began one of her tales, saying that she had been offered a position at a rival firm because they recognized her immense talent. It was clear she was saying this for my benefit, trying to make me jealous or something. I could not help it, I laughed. Not a chuckle, but a full-on belly laugh. Everybody looked at me like I'd lost it, but man, it felt good. I didn't say anything, I just laughed. She looked so angry. After that night, she's been giving me the cold shoulder, and I've got this gnawing feeling that she's plotting her next move against me. I didn't mean to be rude, but I'm just so damn tired of her BS. Do I confront her, or let things be? Let me know, I will update you guys again. Update number 1. Oh, yo, everyone, it's me again, and boy, do I have an update for you. So it's been 3 weeks since the whole laughing at Jasmine's lie incident. Things have gone from mildly annoying to borderline insane. After my outburst, I thought Jasmine would back off, but how wrong was I? She took it as a challenge, and let me tell you, if I thought her stories were wild before, they're on a whole nother level. Remember how she said that she's been offered a position at a rival firm? Well, apparently they also offered her a penthouse suite, a company car, and get this, the opportunity to rub shoulders with A-list celebrities. At corporate events, obviously. Every day I had to listen to how she turned down this incredible offer for some vague, noble reason. Now, I'm all about being proud of your achievements and stuff, but her constant bragging was driving me up the wall. Even more so when she looked my way, flashing that mug smile, waiting for a reaction, but here's where it gets really juicy. Last Friday during lunch, I overheard her talking to a group of new interns. She was weaving this elaborate story about her, quote, past life as a world-renowned journalist, claiming she had interviewed big names like Elon Musk, Beyonce, and even the Queen of England. I rolled my eyes so hard I thought they were going to get stuck. Now, usually I'd shrug it off, but the interns were hanging on to her every word, clearly impressed. I couldn't let them be fooled by her nonsense. I had to do something, so I did a little digging. Turns out, before joining our firm, she worked at a local newspaper, writing articles on community events. No shade on that. I mean, come on, it's honest work, but it's far cry from interviewing A-list celebrities and royalty. I felt like I was onto something. I started asking around discreetly. Our HR guy, Mark, who's been there forever, knows everything and drops some truth bombs. Apparently, Jasmine has a history of twisting facts and creating stories. He hinted that she might be a pathological liar. Some of her references were fake, but she got hired because she aced the interview and seemed experienced. With this newfound knowledge, my annoyance turned to pity. I mean, why would someone lie so much? There must be something deep going on. But at the same time, her lies were affecting the workplace, and people were getting tired of her antics, and some even considered quitting because of the toxic environment that she created. So, do I confront Jasmine about what I know? Not in a gotcha way, but maybe just her, know that it's okay to be herself? What's more, last week she started a new rumor. She's telling people I'm trying to sabotage her career, and she's claiming that I'm jealous of her success, and that I've been spreading negative stories about her to senior management. I've always stayed out of politics in the office, but this is getting personal. I'm at my wit's end, y'all. I don't want this drama just to keep going, but I don't know how to end it. I'm genuinely scared that she'll do something drastic if I confront her. But I also can't let her tarnish my reputation. What do I do? Update number 2. Hey everyone, back at it with another update, and man, things have spiraled like crazy over the last couple of weeks. After my last update, many of you said that I should gather evidence and confront Jasmine, so that's what I did. But not before her lies started getting to me big time. She ramped up her game, making it seem like I was the office villain. Stories of me stealing her ideas, me bad-mouthing her to the bosses, even a wild one about me trying to sabotage a big client deal. It was nuts. And the worst part, people were starting to believe her. I could feel the cold stares, the hushed conversations when I walked by. It was a damn nightmare, but I had a plan. Remember the lie about her interviewing A-list celebrities and the Queen? I decided to expose her. I mean, if she lied about it, who's to say what else she lied about? I reached out to her old newspaper and managed to get copies of her articles, and as expected, they were all local stories. School events, local charity drives, town fairs, sorts of stuff like that. Not a single Beyonce in sight. Armed with this evidence, I waited for the right moment, and boy, did it come. We had a team meeting to discuss an upcoming campaign, and Jasmine, in her usual flair, began telling one of her stories to the entire room. This time she said, "I saw my shot and took it." Really, Jasmine? That sounds incredible. By the way, I came across some of your articles from back then. Mind if I share them with the team? I'm sure they'd love to hear about the summer fair and the local dog show. The room went silent, and I could feel everybody's gaze bouncing between me and Jasmine. She looked like a deer caught in some headlights. I brought out the newspaper clippings and passed them around, and nobody said a word. Her face turned a shade of red, and I did not know it was humanly possible to get that red. She stuttered, trying to come up with an excuse, but nothing coherent came from her lips. It was painfully awkward. The room was thick with tension, and you could cut it with a knife. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she ran out of the room in tears, and our boss, looking bewildered, called for a quick break. Everybody was in shock, but slowly, conversation started. People began sharing other Jasmine stories, trying to figure out which were true and which were fabrications. Turns out almost everybody had doubted her tales, but did not have the guts to call her out. My actions kind of opened up the floodgates. Stories that she's told about personal relationships, secret projects, and, quote, confidential talks with senior management were all coming under scrutiny. I felt relieved, yeah, but also a bit guilty. I mean, was it right to expose her in front of everyone, or did she really expose herself? I didn't want to humiliate her, just show people the truth, you know? That day, I left the office with a heavy heart. The place was buzzing with whispers and speculation, and I have no clue how this will end. Anyways, I'll keep you posted. Here's to hoping for a peaceful resolution. Update number 3. Hey, it's all me. It's been a crappy couple months since my last update, and honestly, I never imagined this would be how things turned out. Remember that big reveal at the team meeting? Well, turns out that was my downfall. Just a week after exposing Jasmine, I was called into our boss's office. The HR rep was there, and I had this sinking feeling. They said I violated company policy by creating a hostile work environment. I was shocked. I tried defending myself, saying all I did was bring out the truth, but they weren't having it. The whole printing and distributing thing, according to them, it felt premeditated, like I was out to get her. They saw it as a personal vendetta, and then they dropped the bomb. I was being let go, fired, just like that. Man, I was furious. I felt betrayed. Here I was, trying to expose a liar and save the office from her toxic tales, and I was the one being punished. I asked about Jasmine, and they said that she was receiving counseling and would continue her job with, quote, adjusted responsibilities. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Walking out of there, I was feeling rage, disbelief. My coworkers were in shock, and many came to me, saying it was unfair and that they had my back, but words are just that, words. Jasmine, I saw her once on my way out, and the look she gave me, I swear it was triumph and pity combined to have a baby. She won. Fast forward to now, I've started a new job. It's alright, nothing exciting, a smaller firm with a different vibe. I miss my old desk, the view from the window, even the crappy office coffee you always get adjusted to. Anyways, I still think about that day a lot. I don't regret it. I know many of you would say I should have handled it differently, maybe gone through the proper channels, but in the heat of the moment, I felt it was the right thing to do, and honestly, I still feel that way. I just hope Jasmine felt the humiliation deep down, that it sticks with her and maybe makes her think twice before weaving another web of lies. Well, I've vented, I've shared, and now it's your turn. Do you think I went too far? Should I have just let her tail slide and keep my head down until she gets herself caught? Was the price of standing up and being the one who spoke up too much? Am I the a-hole? Let me know. Comment number 1. Man, I totally feel for you on this one. I had a friend who had a pathological liar, right? Like stories of her backpacking with Tibetan monks level of crazy. It got to the point where I could not trust a word that she said and had to cut ties with her. You're not the a-hole, OP. Comment 2. I get that Jasmine was a headache, but dude, you kind of set yourself up. Handing out copies to everyone, it does look like you were, well, waiting for that golden moment to drop the bomb. You could have approached this in a less confrontational manner. I hate to say it, but you made your bed with this one. You're the a-hole in my book, OP, but hope things get better for you. Yeah. Maybe handing out the pamphlets was a bit too far, but come on. Somebody had to deal with this girl, Jasmine. She was, indeed, a pathological liar, and things were getting out of control. I want to know from you guys, out of all the comments I just read from the original post and the updates, which comment do you agree with the most? And if you were in OP's position, do you think it was fair to get fired for the way that you brought forward some revenge? In my opinion, I don't think OP deserved to be fired, especially when the revenge wasn't even that intense. But hey, I would like to know your thoughts on it, guys, and we do have a second story to hop into today, which will wrap up the video, and the title is this. Am I the a-hole for pranking my substitute teacher
with my friend after feeling like constantly I'm being targeted by this guy.
Yeah, so let me give you the lowdown. I'm 16, 11th grade, and for the last 2 weeks we've had this sub in our history class, Mr. Hawthorne. Now, I'm not one to go around stirring up drama or anything, but I swear this guy has got it out for me and I don't even know why. It started on the first day. I walked into class, music blaring in my earbuds per usual, and just as I'm about to take them out, Mr. Hawthorne barks, "Headphones out, son!" I mean, yeah, I was going to take them out, but he said it as if I just painted graffiti on the wall or something. I noticed he didn't say anything to Jenna, who was still chatting away on her phone. Double standards, much. Anyways, that was just the start of it. Over the past 2 weeks, every time I answer a question, Mr. Hawthorne's got this way of making me feel like I said something dumb. Like he'll squint till his head and be like, "Are you sure that's the right answer?" And when I say yeah it is, because trust me, I study, he'll just give this little sigh and move on, as if he's so disappointed I actually knew something. And then there's Derek, who just blurts out stuff, sometimes even wrong stuff, and Mr. Hawthorne laughs it off or gently corrects him. No sighs, no eye-rolling, nothing. Last Wednesday was the worst. We had this project where we had to do a mini presentation on a historical figure. I spent days on it, okay? Days. I chose Nikola Tesla because, come on, the dude's a legend. I had photos, some cool little known facts, everything, but when I went up to present, Mr. Hawthorne stopped me and said, "Didn't we agree that you'd present on Edison?" No, we didn't. I never mentioned Edison, and he made me sit down and said that we'd figure it out after class. After class, he told me he misremembered and gave me this lecture on how I should be clear next time. Excuse me, it wasn't my mistake. I was mad, but I didn't say anything yet. There's more. Every time I whisper something to my buddy, Chris, during class, Mr. Hawthorne's like, "Do you have something to share with the class?" "Bro, we're just talking about the new Spider-Man movie, dude. Chill." But when others are almost having a full-blown conversation, he doesn't even bat an eyelid. I talked to Chris about it, and he thinks Mr. Hawthorne just simply doesn't like me. I don't know what I did to the dude. I mean, I'm not the perfect student or anything, but I don't cause trouble. Chris told me to just ride it out, and since Mr. Hawthorne is only here for a month, but every day he feels like a damn eternity. Today was the last straw for me. I walked into class, and somebody had drawn this really messed up doodle on the whiteboard. It wasn't even that bad, just some stick figures doing stupid stuff. Before I could even sit down, Mr. Hawthorne was like, "Clean it up. Now." I tried to tell him I didn't do it, but he wasn't hearing it. The entire class watched as I cleaned up somebody else's mess, and not sure what I should do, but this has gone too far. Let me know what you would do down below. Update number 1. Hey, it's me again, and y'all won't believe what's happened since my update. So, quick recap. Mr. Hawthorne, the sub from hell, has been making my life miserable. I thought he was just subbing for my history class, right? Wrong. It turns out this dude is a sub for like every subject. So now, whenever a teacher is out, no matter the class, guess who walks in? Mr. Hawthorne! And the crazy thing is, every single time he's subbing for a class I'm in, it feels like he's got a new reason to target me. So 3 weeks have passed, right? And I thought maybe he chilled out. Nope. We had our gym teacher out for a week, and guess who the sub was? You guessed it. I mean, how does one person sub for history and gym? Anyways, we were playing dodgeball, which I'm pretty good at. I was on a roll, knocking out people from the opposite team left and right like a sniper. Feeling good, and then out of nowhere, Mr. Hawthorne blows the whistle and says, "You! Out of the game." I was like, "What? Why?" He points at my shoes and says, "Wrong footwear." Bro, they were the same sneakers everyone else was wearing, and guess what? Jenna was wearing Converse. And she got to stay in. I was seething, but had to sit out for the rest of the game, and I crap you not. When I was leaving, I saw one of the kids playing in Crocs. But my shoe wear apparently is no good. Well, it doesn't stop there. Last week, he subbed for our math teacher. We had a pop quiz, and I swear I did everything right, but when I got it back, I had a big fat C-. They were markings of not showing enough work or not using the right method. I checked with Chris and a few others, and they did the same thing I did, but got an A. I mean, seriously, what's this guy's deal? By this point, I'm super frustrated, so I talked to my guidance counselor about it, and she told me Mr. Hawthorne was like a legend at our school. Apparently, he subbed here for years and even tutored some of the teachers when they were students. She said that he's known for being strict but fair. Fair? Yeah, right. Chris keeps telling me to keep my head down, that Mr. Hawthorne will move on to some other school soon. But every time I walk into a classroom and see him there, my blood boils. It's like he's everywhere. I even saw him at the local diner the other day, and I was grabbing a burger with my fam. He was sitting 2 tables away, and I swear he gave me this smug look as he sipped on his coffee, black like his soul. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm thinking of gathering evidence or something, maybe getting statements from my classmates if he's going to keep messing with me. I need to be prepared. And while I haven't retaliated yet, I'm reaching my breaking point. What do y'all think? Update number 2. Alright guys, things have spiraled so far out of control, and I'm not even sure how to feel anymore. First off, big shout out to everybody who's been following the story and sending advice. A lot of you have said to keep my cool, while others were like, bro, you gotta stand up for yourself. I took a mix of both, and things got wild. So Chris and I came up with this prank. You see, Mr. Hawthorne always had this huge mug of coffee in the morning. He's like obsessed with it, like Gollum in the Ring level obsessed anyways. We got this idea to use that colorless, tasteless, totally harmless food dye that turns blue when you drink it. We thought what's more is hilarious than Mr. Perfect Sub with the blue teeth and a tongue while teaching. We snuck into the class early one day and poured some of the dye into the coffee mug. I was nervous, like my hands were shaking, but dang, it was also exhilarating. Class starts and Mr. Hawthorne takes his first sip. Chris and I are waiting, trying not to give them anything away. About 10 minutes in, he starts talking, and yep, his mouth was blue. I had to bite my hand to stop from laughing. Chris was no help. He was snickering like crazy, and people started to notice, and the whole class was trying not to lose it. Derek, the traitor, pointed it out loudly. Sir, what's wrong with your mouth? That set everyone off, and the classroom erupted into laughter. Mr. Hawthorne looked so angry, and I've never seen him so red. He ran out of the classroom, and the principal came in a few minutes later because the gig was up. The principal was super chill about it, but he had to do his job. He asked who was responsible, and I fessed up immediately. Chris did too. I mean, we weren't gonna let anybody else take the heat for our prank. I thought it in there, slap on the wrist type business, maybe detention, but Mr. Hawthorne wasn't having it. He demanded that we get punished. I've never seen anyone so hell-bent on making sure somebody pays for a harmless prank. Long story short, I ended up with detention. Yup, you read that right. 7 days of it. I've never had detention in my life. I'm the guy who gets home, plays Minecraft, not the guy who stays late in a dimly lit classroom writing lines or whatever you do in detention full of bullies. Chris got it too, but the worst part is, guess who's overseeing detention? Yep, Mr. Bluemouth himself. And not that I feel bad for my friend Chris, because he's my friend, but they only gave him 1 day. Everyone in school has heard about it. Some are calling me a hero, while others think I went too far. As for me, I'm conflicted. On one hand, I feel like I stood up for myself, but on the other, maybe I took it too far. I don't know. Chris says we're legends, however, but all I feel is anxiety. Update number 3. Final update. Hey everyone, it's OP again for the final. First of all, let's talk about detention. You remember, right? The detentions that I had for turning Mr. Hawthorne's mouth blue. It was as horrible as I could have imagined. He had me and Chris scrubbing desk and then me for 6 more days, cleaning up every single thing that you could think of around the campus. Cleaning whiteboards, reorganizing bookshelves. Every day. He watched us like a hawk, and that familiar smug smile plastered upon his face. But that wasn't even the worst part. Every chance he got, he'd throw a snide comment in there. If you'd applied this much effort in class, maybe you wouldn't be here, or it's a shame, I thought you had potential. It was torture. Chris tried to lighten the mood, cracking jokes and making fun of the situation, but honestly, I was boiling inside. I wanted to scream at Mr. Hawthorne, tell him that he was the worst teacher ever, but I held my tongue. I remember y'all's advice about picking my battles. As the weeks went by, I noticed a weird shift. Maybe it's because of our prank, or perhaps he was just tired, but Mr. Hawthorne seemed different. He wasn't calling me out in class as much as he was. In fact, it felt like he was avoiding me, which, let's be real, was a nice change. Word about our prank had spread throughout the school, and to my surprise, it wasn't just my friends who were patting me on the back. Even seniors came up to share their own Hawthorne horror stories. Apparently, he had been the bane of students for years, and our prank had achieved legendary status. Despite the newfound fame, every day walking up and down the hallways, I hoped and prayed Mr. Hawthorne would be gone. Each morning, walking into school felt like I was playing Russian roulette. Would I see his smug face, or would we finally get a break? The last week of the semester arrived, and Chris and I were hanging out in the cafeteria when we overheard a group of teachers talking. They were discussing faculties for the next semester, and guess whose name came up? Mr. Hawthorne's. The rumor was he's considering leaving for another school. Chris and I, we looked at each other. Could it be? Were we finally free of Hawthorne? His reign of terror? The semester ended and still there was no official word. However, 2 days ago, Jenna, who's in the student council, let slip that Mr. H put in transfer request to another school district. I swear I could have danced with joy. Chris and I threw a mini celebration. Well, that was just like any other day, honestly. Who am I kidding? Pizza and video games. Now, here's where I need y'all's final opinion. I feel good about the payback. In fact, I don't regret it one bit. But at the same time, I can't shake the feeling that this isn't the end of Mr. Hawthorne's games. I wouldn't expect him to give up this easy. Anyways, what do y'all think? Am I the a-hole for the elaborate prank me and Chris pulled on Mr. H? Comment number 1. LMAO. I nearly spit out my coffee reading this. Mr. Hawthorne looking like he sucked on a Smurf. Pure gold. OP, you gave everybody a good laugh and some solid memories. Funny prank, not the a-hole. Keep up the good fight. Comment number 2. Well, I mean, the prank was hilarious, no doubt, but come on, OP. You had to know there'd be consequences if you got caught. While I think it was funny, lighthearted, always consider the outcomes. Still not the a-hole, just gotta be smarter next time. I mean, honestly, if you trusted Chris so much, why didn't y'all just keep silent and not confess it was you who did it? They can't put the whole class in trouble. Comment 3. Wow, Mr. Hawthorne sounds like a legit nightmare. It's kinda creepy how he was always in your classes, like he had your schedule mapped out or something. That's straight up weird, man. Props to you for finally taking a stand and giving him a taste of his own medicine, not the a-hole. Final comment of the story. Okay, I'm gonna be the unpopular opinion here, but while the prank was funny, you might have pushed Mr. Hawthorne to the point where he felt that he needed to leave the school. That's a big deal, and pranks can have long-term effects on people's career, you know. Instead of public humiliation, maybe just talk to him about your feelings. Sorry, OP, you're the a-hole.
Well, Mr. Hawthorne, that guy was a creep. Tough one to deal with, but maybe if we could have had a post from Mr. Hawthorne's perspective, maybe we could have seen if this story was truthful, exaggerated, or indeed if Mr. Hawthorne was just a bully. Let me know your thoughts about this, guys. In my opinion, getting 7 days for detention for staining your teacher's teeth blue, it kinda seems like the revenge was worth it because 7 days, that'll be over really quick. Yeah, I know, his friend only got 1 day, which isn't fair, but either way, they did become legends in the hallway. We can't forget that. Guys, thank you for joining me. This is Mr. Reddito's Revenge channel, where every story has some sort of revenge or karma attached to it. If you want daily revenge stories, the best way is simple. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And just remember, this might be a revenge channel, but it's cool to be kind. Peace.